If you're watching this, please subscribe. It helps YouTube sees us. I don't remember much about how I got there. Just the cold beneath my skin and my face pressed against the cobblestone. I was trying to drink myself into the ground, not to pass out. Number to vanish, to sink. The pain in my bones was screaming, and I thought maybe if I touched the earth long enough it would finally take me. They found me naked, mumbled something about dignity, but they don't know what dignity is when dead souls are whispering your name every night. In the station, the detective sat across from me. Emil Kruger, stern eyes. War veteran maybe, maybe not. I didn't care. He asked me what happened, why I wanted to die. They keep calling me, I told him. Who? The dead ones. He thought I was drunk, or mad, maybe both. He said I should start from the beginning. I didn't want to talk, but something in me needed to, so I told him. It started 4 nights ago. I was in my flat like any other day. Smoked the last 2 sticks I had left. Bitter coffee in my hand, not even hot. I remember the sun barely lighting the window. It was one of those quiet Berlin mornings where the silence makes your skin itch. Then a knock. I wasn't expecting anyone. I hadn't spoken to a soul in 3 days. When I opened the door, there he stood. An old man. Not just old, ancient. Pale skin like wax paper. Eyes that looked like they'd seen the beginning of time. He didn't introduce himself, just held something out with both hands. "This is for you," he said, voice dry, like dust in a cave. It was a sculpture, small, no taller than a wine bottle. Black, ugly. I couldn't even tell what it was. A figure crouched low, arms wrapped around its knees, mouth frozen in an eternal scream. I didn't want it, but I took it anyway. He walked away before I could ask anything. I placed it on the table and went to the kitchen to make eggs. Ate in silence. I didn't touch the thing again. Left the flat, got groceries, had lunch alone. When I came back, it was already dark. I had forgotten all about it, until I walked into my room. That damn sculpture was sitting on my nightstand. I stood there staring at it. My stomach turned. I told myself maybe I moved it and forgot. Maybe I was drunk. Maybe tired. I took it back to the living room and tossed it in the trash. Told myself that was the end of it. That night, just as I was drifting off, I heard someone say my name. Erich. It was faint at first, then again, louder, and again. Erich. I sat up. Every light in the flat went on. I searched every room. No signs of a break-in, nothing out of place. I walked into the kitchen. It was there. On the counter, the same sculpture, but not quite. Its arms were longer, its head tilted a little more upward. The mouth looked wider. I picked it up. It was warm. Not room temperature warm, body warm, like something alive. I shoved it deep into the trash, slammed the bin shut. As I turned around, I heard it again. My name, whispered right behind me. I swung my fist out of instinct, hit air. "Stop saying my name," I shouted. My own voice cracked. I didn't sleep well, but the voices stopped. That was the first time it gave me peace. Or maybe it was just saving energy. The next morning, I woke up. And there it was again. Right beside me, on my nightstand, just watching me. That's when I realized it wasn't just some cursed object. It was alive. Back in the station, Kruger hadn't blinked once. I could tell he was trying to stay professional, but his fingers gripped the pen harder now. "You threw it away?" he asked. "I tried." "Then how is it still coming back?" I looked him dead in the eye. "It never leaves. Doesn't matter if you throw it in a bin, a fire, or the river. It finds its way back, and every time it does, it gets a little closer to the real thing." He frowned. "The real thing?" I smiled even though my jaw ached. "You'll see." I couldn't stay in that apartment after that, but I didn't have anywhere else to go, so I did the next thing that made sense. I took the sculpture, wrapped it in an old towel, shoved it in a bag, and I walked straight to the river. The sun hadn't risen yet. Berlin was still asleep. I stood at the edge of the spree, knuckles white around the bag. My hands trembled, not from cold, but from something deeper, something in my bones. It was like I could feel it watching me from inside the cloth. I didn't hesitate. I threw it in. It made a soft splash, then sank. No resistance, no floating. Just gone. I waited, counted to 60, then walked home. For the first time in days, I breathed freely. I didn't look over my shoulder. I didn't hear my name in the shadows. Back in the flat, I checked every room. It wasn't there. I laughed. I actually laughed. Then I opened a bottle, drank until I could barely feel my skin. I fell asleep on the couch. I don't know how long I was out, but when I woke up, I couldn't move. Pain. It wasn't normal pain. It was like something had taken a hammer to every joint in my body, my knees, my elbows, my spine. I tried to sit up and felt something crack inside me. I screamed. I rolled onto the floor and something in my shoulder snapped. There was no one there to help, no one to hear me. My fingers wouldn't bend right. I dragged myself into the hallway, breathing hard, sweating like a dying dog. I must have passed out. When I came to, the floor was sticky beneath me. Blood from my nose, my gums, somewhere else I couldn't locate. I tried to stand. My ankle gave out. That's when I saw it, perched right at the edge of the hallway next to the bathroom door. The sculpture. But now, it had changed again. Its arms were longer, knees bent wider. Its head was tilted all the way back like it was laughing. And I swear to God, its eyes were open now. That thing was growing. I screamed, picked up a chair and smashed it. Over and over. Wood splinters. Blood from my palms. I broke it apart, shoved it into a garbage bag. This time I didn't throw it in the river. I set it on fire in the alley behind my building. It screamed. The flames crackled like bones snapping. The smell, it wasn't smoke. It was hair, skin, meat. I didn't sleep that night, just watched the ashes until sunrise. When I went back into my apartment, everything was quiet, no pain, no voices. For the first time, I believed I had won. Then I went into my bedroom. There it was on the nightstand. No ash, no soot, whole and smiling. That night it got worse. The pain came back, but sharper, more violent. My body bent in ways it shouldn't have. I couldn't move without hearing something break inside me. My left hand was swollen, fingers jutting out like broken sticks. My right leg turned purple from the thigh down. I tried to call for help, but the phone wouldn't work. The cord had been cut. I started crying. I begged, not to God. He wasn't listening. I begged to whatever was doing this to me. I told it I was sorry. For what, I didn't know. Or maybe I did. I passed out again. When I woke up, I could barely breathe. My ribs felt cracked. My tongue was swollen. I crawled to the bathroom mirror. I didn't recognize myself. My left eye had turned blood red. My teeth were cracked. There was something under my skin, something moving. I told myself I was hallucinating, that I'd gone mad, that none of this was real. But then I turned to the nightstand. There it sat, the sculpture, now standing. Its arms were no longer wrapped around itself. They hung at its sides. Its hands had fingers now. Human-like, 5 on each. It had grown, and it was waiting. They stopped listening to me after the hospital visit. I had dragged myself there, fingers twisted, jaw swollen, eyes blackened with burst vessels. I looked like I jumped from a 5-story building. The nurses said I did it to myself. The doctor asked if I'd been using drugs. They bandaged my hand, gave me a shot, and told me to rest. But when I told them about the sculpture, they called for a psychiatrist. The next day, they put me in a gown. No windows, no shoes. They told me I was going to be evaluated. Instead, I was questioned. Detective Kruger came back, not with a notebook this time, with 2 uniformed officers. He said they were going to search my apartment, check if anyone had been living there with me. Maybe I was being attacked. Maybe I was just a lunatic with a taste for pain. I didn't say a word. I just sat there, number broken. I watched them leave through the barred glass of the hospital window. That was the last moment of peace they would ever know. Statement from Officer Lucas Raymond. Recorded September 3rd, 1955. We entered the apartment at 8:13. I was with Officer Hans Becker. The door was unlocked, swinging slightly. The place smelled like old meat and blood, thick, like it had been soaking for days. The living room was a mess. The couch had deep red stains, dried blood, pooled into the floorboards, flies buzzing near the base. No sign of forced entry. No other footprints but Mahler's. No signs of a second resident. Hans went to check the bedroom. I moved into the kitchen. I was still opening drawers when I heard him scream. It wasn't a normal scream. It was high, sharp, like something had torn through him. When I ran in, I couldn't believe what I saw. He was hanging upside down from the ceiling, hooked through the ankles, except there were no hooks. Just flesh fused into the plaster. Like the ceiling had grown teeth. His arms were broken, back arched unnaturally, head twisted completely around. His mouth was still moving when I got to him, like he was trying to say something, but no sound came out. His eyes, they were already gone. Just empty, bloody sockets. I threw up right there. I ran. Didn't even check the rest of the place. Just ran. I ran. Didn't even check the rest of the place. Just ran. I heard the sirens from the hospital window. Later, they told me 5 more officers went in, took the body down, but the sculpture wasn't there. They questioned me again. This time, tighter restraints, thicker voices. I told them the truth. I didn't kill anyone. The thing did, but they didn't believe me. How could they? They said I was unstable, delusional, paranoid. They said I was dangerous, so they declared me insane. Sent me here, where the walls are white and the nights are long, and my name still echoes in the dark. You'd think that would be the end, that they'd lock me up and I'd rot in a padded room while the world kept spinning. But no, it came back, a year later. I was sitting on the floor of the asylum day room, rocking, humming nonsense to keep the silence out. Nurses barely noticed me anymore. I was just a ghost to them. Then I saw him, through the fog glass at the front gate. The old man, same hunched back, same yellow eyes, holding something long and rectangular under his coat. A nurse stepped out to meet him. He said nothing, just handed her the package. For Mahler, he whispered. She brought it inside. I could smell it before I even saw it. Burnt stone, rot, blood. They opened it. Another sculpture. Not the same one. Worse. This one had 3 heads, all twisted upward, all screaming. The mouths were open wide. One had teeth, real teeth. I screamed so loud they had to sedate me. But I knew. Deep down, I knew. This one wasn't just watching. This one was hungry. They keep me sedated now. Every night they double the dose, thinking it will silence me. But I don't scream because I'm afraid. I scream because it's here. The new sculpture, if you can still call it that, sits across from my bed. They say they locked it away in a staff room. They say patients aren't allowed to have things like that. But it's here. Every night, when the lights go out, it appears at the foot of my bed like it was always part of the room. It has 3 heads. The center one just stares. The left one cries. The right one laughs with teeth. Every time I close my eyes, it gets closer. Inch by inch. Night by night. The nurses say I'm having episodes. They chart my screams. They up my medication. But they don't see it moving. Only I do. They call me paranoid. But yesterday I woke up with a missing fingernail. My tongue swollen. My ankle fractured again. Tell me, how does a man injure himself in his sleep? With no sharp objects, no tools, no freedom? They won't answer that, because deep down they know I'm telling the truth. The sculpture is no longer just a thing. It's become a presence. It breathes. It shifts. It hums at night, low and guttural like something ancient, buried deep beneath the soil. Sometimes it whispers in voices that aren't mine. Sometimes I hear Hans, the officer who died in my bedroom. Sometimes I hear children screaming. Sometimes I hear my own orders shouted in a muddy forest 15 years ago, followed by gunfire. I see them in my dreams now, faces I thought I'd buried with the war. One girl had no arms. One man's mouth was sewn shut. They all stare with eyes like black holes, mouths repeating the same words over and over. You can't run from the dead. The day before yesterday, I bit through my own lip, not on purpose. The sculpture had moved again. Now it sits inches from my bed. When I opened my eyes, the center head was staring directly at mine. Its mouth opened, and inside I saw a fourth face. It was mine, smiling. They moved me to isolation, but the smell followed me. Ash, blood, rotting skin. It's always strongest in the corners of the room. The walls are bleeding now, even though the nurses don't see it. They don't hear the wet footsteps at night, but I do. And now, I think I understand. It never wanted to kill me. It wanted to become me. Every bone it broke, every inch of flesh it tore, it was reshaping me, preparing me, making space. Last night I looked in the mirror for the first time in weeks. My face is wrong now. It's not just the swelling, the bruises, the damage. It's deeper, under the skin. My eyes don't blink and sink anymore. My smile comes when I don't mean it to. My spine curves just like the sculptures. And my shadow isn't mine. It's taller, and it has 3 heads. There's a nurse here. Anna. She's kind, or used to be. Today she came into my room and dropped something. Her hands were shaking. It was another package. She whispered, "He came again." I didn't ask who. I already knew. I haven't opened it, but I can hear it breathing. And now I realize it never gave me a choice. I was marked the moment I took the first one. Detective Kruger visited me once more last week, sat just outside the glass. He didn't say anything, just stared at me, like I was a ghost. He looked thinner, pale, tired. Before he left, he leaned in and whispered one thing. He came to me too. Eric Mahler was found dead in his isolation cell on October 14th, 1956. Cause of death, massive internal trauma. His jaw was broken in 4 places, spine twisted, both eyes removed, no sculpture was found. The asylum has since been shut down. Detective Kruger, Eric Mahler, and Hans Becker were all Navy soldiers. For more scary horror stories, please subscribe.